Hey, so I know it's been a while, and I'm sorry about that. I have a really good explanation. I'm sorry that there was a gap in my posting. I really want to be doing these videos at least weekly, if not bi-weekly, twice a week. As you all know, I also am a big advocate for work-life balance and self-care. And my schedule last week simply made it impossible for me to post videos, or even if I had the energy to record them, I definitely didn't have the time to edit them. So last week I spent every single day in the recording studio finishing my audiobook for my upcoming book release, Stories of Elders. It's not out for pre-sale yet. It's coming soon. For those of you that haven't done something like that, it's exhausting. You stare at the screen for hours, and so your eyes are like fixated, and then you're reading differently. Like your eyes go over the words, but then it goes over them again. And so your brain's trying to like read ahead so that you don't stumble over the words. Because if you make a mistake, then you have to go back. And then your voice has to be at a certain level. And so your diaphragm and your muscles and your posture all have to be in a certain place. And so after usually about 2 hours is like the time frame that most people do where they have the right kind of energy. We were pushing it to like 3.5 just because we needed to get it done and hit this deadline. And so I would like drag myself home at the end, and I just like had nothing left in me, which is okay. I mean, a full day's work is a full day work, but I didn't have the energy or the wherewithal to be doing these videos. And so I'm sorry for my absence. Thank you for being patient with me. And thank you for understanding that I needed to pay attention to where my biggest energy expenditures were, and then balance that by self-care and also by not spending further energy at a high level, because these videos do take a high level of energy. I've been really meaning to share with you my rules for not losing your shit. It's my 8 ways to avoid losing your shit. It's a blog post that I did some time ago. I think it's a perfect topic to share in this video today because last week was so much about using those methods in order to make sure that I didn't overexert myself. If you're curious about the original blog post, it'll be in the description, so you're welcome to go ahead and just read it if you prefer reading. Otherwise, you can compare notes, you can read through it while we talk here. What I love about video though is that I can go deeper than I would in a blog, because you're not going to read a 2,000 or 3,000 word blog. Let's be honest. So without further ado, here are the 8 ways to avoid losing your shit as an entrepreneur. So your raison d'etre, right? The reason for doing, for being. Why are you here? Why are you running a business in the first place? What did you love, or did you envision, or did you want for the world that motivated you so much to leave the safety of corporate America to start your own business? Now, if you don't have a good raison d'etre, if you are running from something as opposed to running to something, you're going to find your day-to-day a lot harder. So if you decided to start a business because you didn't want to be in the service industry anymore, I get that. I actually started my first business kind of running from something, but I've since dug deep and realized that there was a deeper motivation. There was always something in me entrepreneurial. In fact, my first business was when I was 10 years old, and I was selling Beanie Baby beds door to door after I made them on my sewing machine. So you have a reason, you have a vision, you have something you're going for. So think about what it is, write it down, and post it somewhere so that when you don't feel like getting out of bed in the morning, when you're so sick of answering emails, when you can't muster the energy for yet another meeting, You can look at your Leçon d'être, you can look at your why, and it will motivate you and continue lifting you towards your goal. So this next one is something that a lot of people are really afraid to do, but it will actually totally change your business. This is hysterical, because I literally was reading in The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, which if you haven't gotten that book yet, I don't know what you're doing, because you need to read that book. Anyway, he literally was just talking about this in the chapter I was reading. Awesome. There are reasons why somebody says no, but people are so afraid to ask. I understand that this is your baby, you're scared of getting criticism, but you can ask the question in such a way that you get an honest and true answer, and it makes your business better. If you get a no because you didn't explain your process or the value of your work well, you need to know that, because otherwise you'll get no's every single time. If you got a no because there isn't enough value or it just wasn't the right fit, that's important to know too. If you're attracting the wrong type of people, you're going to get a lot of no's as well. So it's really important for you to understand why you're getting no's. Even if it's money, it's important for you to understand, are you priced too high? Are you priced too low? I tell everyone you should be priced in a manner where you have a few no's still happening. And then some other people who are saying, whoa, I don't think you're priced high enough. That's like maybe 20% of your business on either side. And then 60% of your business is like, yeah, you're my sweet spot. This is perfect. If you're never hearing no, you're priced too low. Period. Moving on. Okay, so this is exactly what I was talking about that I was working at last week. By the time that I drove up to the recording studio, which was a 35-minute drive, one way, did the recording for my book, and then drove back, I had a commitment of about 5 hours. And so I was exhausted by the time that I got home. I had nothing left in me. I could lay on the couch and answer a few emails while the computer was lying on my stomach. Don't do that. Really, I had to honor the fact that I could feel that I was tired and that I needed to leave work alone. I'd done my work that day. Time to turn off. Don't try to cram my normal work day in after I'd done that. Recording an audiobook is work. It's a part of my business. So, okay. I always recommend that every entrepreneur has some sort of time boundary to their work. I watch some entrepreneurs say no, I don't need to do this. And then they are burning themselves out. They're spinning like a top and there's just no end to it. And they've got kids and they've got a family and that family never sees them. And they just don't realize how fast they're burning themselves out. So my personal boundary hours are 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Nothing happens within work on either end of those. Typically, however, my typical average day is 9 to 4. I put my foot down with weekends as well. I don't work weekends. Now, I have the privilege of being able to do that. I'm not a photographer. Things don't happen for me within work on weekends, almost ever. Sometimes I'm at a conference speaking. That's different. And then I really make sure that the day I get back from the conference has nothing scheduled, because that gives me the chance to unwind and relax. So I encourage you to decide what are your boundary hours and how are you going to keep that work-life balance, and then really be diligent about it. Don't bring the laptop to bed. Don't check your email first thing in the morning. Allow the morning to be just for you, just as you want the evening to be just for you, or just for you and your family. I have watched a lot of my clients deal with this lesson. For some reason, it's a little bit hard for people to start doing, even though it's a little bit of a no-brainer. We all know that we need to do it. If you're not following up with a potential client or customer, or a current client and customer, they're not going to follow up with you. They're not going to follow up with you, almost ever. Yes, there are exceptions. Damn it. My hair won't stay in the right spot. It's your job to be the pursuer. They reached out and made contact and said, I might need your help. But typically, whenever somebody's asking for help, whether it be for flower arrangement, for a wedding, a doula, marketing, anything, they're coming to you at a time of need, and it's really hard to say, I need help, and then accept help. So even if they want to give you money for your help, it still takes a final bit of resolution in order to jump that hurdle and hand you that check and to accept your support. So it's up to you to keep following up. If you don't have a system for remembering, I talked to so-and-so last week and I haven't heard from them since, it's been 7 days, time to follow up, or I haven't heard from a client in 2 weeks, time to follow up, or I sent out that proposal and now I need to schedule the proposal session and it's time to follow up. You need to have some sort of trigger in your system to remind you to communicate with your potential clients and customers. There's a lot of great CRMs that offer this. Platforms like 17 Hats or Dubsado, they have automation built in, so they'll even remind you when the client has their birthday, which is awesome. Think about it and start creating a system for yourself, even if it's writing it down on a piece of paper. So this is another one that a lot of people just don't do, and they're missing so much opportunity. You've got to reassess what's happening, and you have to do it often. I suggest a minimum of once a month. Some entrepreneurs I know do goal reassessment every morning. By keeping your goals in front of you and then remembering what they're leading to, you can see if you're building that bridge every day or every month, and make sure that you're hitting on it. So think about, how can you make sure that you are staying focused, that you are on the right track, and that your business is affecting your life in the way you want it to. Okay, this one is something I know you guys aren't doing. Take a vacation, for real. I mean, seriously, like, when was the last time you took a vacation? Be honest. In fact, if you want to call yourself out about this, put it in the comments below. When was the last time you took a vacation? For me, my last vacation was last September, I think. So I'm due for another vacation. Last September, I went to 8 countries in 3 weeks in Europe, and it was amazing. It was the backpacking trip I've always wanted, but never did because people kept bailing. So I did it myself. Sometimes you have to really force a vacation to happen because we get so addicted to our work. I mean, entrepreneurs typically love something, and that's why they got into business, which means it's hard to let it go. But if you have a business that is at least automated, if not scaled, you can walk away for a short period of time and have it work just fine. If you have any questions about how to automate or scale your business and make sure that your clients are taken care of while you're gone, let me know. My strategy session link is in the description, and I'm happy to just go over some things with you. It's totally free. Start using affirmations. Are you? Have you ever? Do you have a favorite affirmation? Because I'd love to hear it. I love affirmations. Put it in the doodly-doo. Comments, description, comments, description. We want to know. We love sharing. YouTube is about sharing. So if you've got something to share, please share. Some of my affirmations come from places that I know that I'm struggling with. So one of them is to be visible. And it's right there on my vision board next to my bed. I see it every morning. Yes, I know I'm visible because I have a YouTube channel, but it doesn't mean I don't struggle with it. So sometimes affirmations can be favorite quotes, favorite lyrics, or just something you wrote yourself in order to kind of get you to where you need to go. But use affirmations, and honestly, read them to yourself daily. And finally, practice self-care. Yes. What I do last week, I said, okay, I'm exhausted. I spent a lot of energy in the recording studio. I need to chill out and I need to take care of myself. Also, I still have a sprained ankle. So there's been a lot of Epsom salt in a bucket while I sit and I watch Netflix There's all these salves I'm putting on my ankle. I'm going to the chiropractor. I'm practicing self-care in addition to the fact of watching my energy expenditure and then matching my self-care to that energy expenditure. So if you're not practicing self-care, which I know a lot of entrepreneurs are guilty of, and I'm so sad about that, please start thinking about how you can take steps toward that. Self-care is not selfish, and self-care is absolutely critical. It's the cornerstone to you not burning out. And if you started this, I know you don't want to burn out of it. I know you want to choose if you ever decide to stop being an entrepreneur. I burnt out of my first career. I burnt out of my first love, which was humanitarian aid. I burnt out because I didn't take care of myself. And so I developed post-traumatic stress disorder because I just did it and did it and did it and did it and did it. I didn't stop to care for the being that I am, that was sending out energy to others who were in desperate need. So yes, you might not be in a disaster zone. You might not be at risk like aid workers are, but you still can burn out. And I don't want that for you. Now, just a reminder, self-care isn't just like bubble baths and stuff. It is going to the doctor, or taking a nap, or eating really, really well, and meal prepping because you know you don't have time during the week to make sure you eat well. There's a lot of different types of self-care. There's a really good list on my website. I teach workshops on this, so if you're ever curious, definitely follow me. Wherever you are in the world, I may be coming to talk about self-care in your area. And definitely I talk about this often on Instagram, so feel free to follow me there. And if you have any questions, like I said, just hop on a strategy call with me. It's no big deal. It's 20 minutes, it's free. I'm happy to help you because I don't want you to ever feel like I felt. Well, those are the 8 ways to avoid losing your shit as an entrepreneur. If you have any to add, I'd love to hear it too. You know where to put it. Thanks for understanding why I didn't post any videos last week. And if you're curious, I'm starting a Patreon. If you really like this channel and you want to support it in a more meaningful way, you can find me on Patreon. The link is below, of course. It's brand new, and I think you'll really love some of the things that I'm offering to my supporters. Thank you.